Are Wandsworth about to kill the rental property market for you? Will it cost you more in property maintenance? Will you get fined? Will there be more paperwork? Will you even be able to choose your own tenants? What are the restrictions and what are the regulations? You may have received one of these through your letterbox. It's all about Wandsworth property licensing. Will you be included in phase 1 or phase 2? We are going to spend the next 10 minutes, yes, we'll try and keep it below 10 minutes, and ask the 10 most frequent questions that our clients, landlords and members of the public have. So what is selective licensing? Well, Wandsworth covers an area of over 34 square kilometres, and selective licensing will deal with individual wards within the borough. So selective licensing will deal with even the smallest property, because the maximum occupancy for a property is 1 household or 2 people in 2 households to be applicable. Anything above these numbers, so 3 or 4 people living in 2 or more households, will be dealt with under additional HMO licensing. So moving onwards and upwards, if you have 5 or more people in 2 or more households, this is dealt with by mandatory HMO licensing. So when and where will this occur? Well, let's go for the where first of all. Phase 1, we're looking at Thursdown. We're looking at South Balham, Tooting Bec and Tooting Broadway. And phase 1, we're probably looking at early 2025. That's not too far away at all. Phase 2 is going to be East Putney, West Putney and Northcote. And again, this should be 2025, but later on during the year. So what are the benefits of the property licensing schemes? I'm going to give you this straight from the Wandsworth web pages. Let's go through the benefits for tenants first. Through the conditions that accompany any granted license, license holders are required to proactively manage and maintain their rented home. Licensing will improve the standard of rented properties. This makes properties safer for tenants who occupy them. Licensing will also allow a local authority to adopt a much more proactive approach to tackling poor housing conditions and raising standards in the private rented sector. Licensing will encourage good practices. If a landlord is not able to demonstrate that they comply with fire, gas and electrical conditions, then the license will not be granted. Many people that are vulnerable, disabled or living on low incomes rely on the private rental sector. Licensing will help the local authority to protect as many tenants as possible living in the private rental market. And finally, through increased communication about licensing, tenants not only become aware of their rights and responsibilities, but also gain an improved understanding and greater access to council services that can support them. So what about the benefit to landlords? Well, again, from the Wandsworth website, licensing will encourage landlords to proactively manage their properties and to take reasonable action to address problems. The council will work with landlords to help support them and to build their professionalism. Wandsworth say that licensing will enable the council to create a level playing field for responsible landlords by taking a much more robust approach to the minority of the rogue landlords who fail to invest in their properties. And finally, they will provide a transparent and consistent regulation within the private rental sector market to ensure that rogue landlords, or indeed non-compliant landlords, cannot undercut the responsible landlords. This does mean that the minimum EPC standard, Energy Performance Certificate of E, that was introduced during April of 2018 will now be enforced in order to obtain a license. So what are the fees involved, and will there be fines for non-compliance? The fee for a selective license is going to be £850, and this license should last for 5 years, and this goes up to £1,450 for a full HMO license. There will be discounts for what they call an early bird payment, and also further discounts on offer. There will be fines for non-compliance, and whilst these have not quite yet been published, at present a landlord can be fined up to £30,000 for non-compliance. So be very aware that you do stick to the rules and regulations. So in conclusion, what do you need to do as a landlord? Well, the first thing to do is don't hide under a rock. If you are in one of the wards that are covered by this selective licensing, you need to start acting now. We are here to help. I can confidently say that all of the properties that Porter's estate agents manage in these wards will automatically comply. If you as a landlord have any doubts or worries, then we are here to help. Use the link to the contact form below and one of our professional and experienced team members will get in touch with you as soon as possible to discuss your individual requirements. There are more consultations coming up in September, but don't wait for those. Act now, get in touch with Porter's estate agents and see how we can help you out.